All right, here we go. So everybody, here we are. Welcome to episode number 37. We just had our fair share of gremlins just trying to start the thing. And then on top of that, Lola is going to be here. She's not right now, but she will be. Gus, our 1-year-old, is having a hard time going to sleep tonight. And we're not just going to tell Austin, like, hey, can you just wait for our baby to stop crying? And so we're going to keep rolling. She's going to come back out. And I guess I just accidentally let the cat out of the bag. Austin Felix is on the show tonight, which is super exciting. Dude is a stick. He's won at basically every level of bass fishing. And he's sort of a local. And so we're really, really pumped to have him on the show. And this is an interesting episode, number 37, because why, Nate?
Well, this is our post-Christmas episode. So
yeah.
This episode is going to be available for all the ears.
Yeah.
Right after Christmas. So
and the eyes.
And the eyes, yes, yeah. On the YouTube as well. So,
so this is the dorkiest thing ever. Like, okay, so as this is coming out, it's coming out on like December 26th. But we're actually recording it today, like a week before. And so like, we're usually not this far out. Like usually we're just flying by the seat of our pants and we're recording something, like putting it out the next day, but we actually have a couple lined up. And so what we're going to do, because in podcast world, it's Christmas, post-Christmas. In real world, it's pre-Christmas. Let's just pretend. Let's be dorks, all right? Let's pretend like we actually had Christmas, even though we didn't. So, Nate, how was your Christmas? Did you get everything you wanted? Did your kids like their gifts?
Yeah, the kids always love every single toy that they get.
Did they like what you got them this year specifically?
Specifically, they yes, they did and will, and most likely will be super stoked. Yeah, no, for sure though. I think they're gonna be thrilled. They always are. My kids, luckily, are super appreciative. They're surprisingly really good. So
surprisingly really good. What does that mean?
I mean, I don't know.
Do you ever feel like, as a dad, do you ever feel like you get, so like Lola's really good at like sort of like planning out and like spreadsheeting Christmas, because we have 6 kids, Lola and I do, and so it's like we can't just go completely crazy or we go broke. And so like she'll be real like intentional and strategic and like, all right, we're gonna get this for this kid and this for this kid, and then like the week before I'll see something like at work or whatever and I'll be like, oh, I should get him that and I should get him this and I want to throw more. Is it really easy for you to like get too much crap for your kids?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Probably even easier than you with only having 2. So, anytime, like you're saying, you walk by something that you think they're gonna, they like or enjoy or appreciate, and it's like, I might as well get that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So now that we're after Christmas, Nate, what things did you get for Christmas?
Well, I hope I get all the things.
No, what did you get? Because it's already after Christmas.
Yeah, right. I got I got some nice stuff, I really did,
I got some nice items.
Probably some underwear. Well, definitely some underwear. The underwear are nice, new socks.
Yeah.
Gotta be Nike Cruise. The wife knows the deal there. So
yeah, you're specific on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Dry fit. So
okay, word. I got good items as well from my family and friends.
Nice, good.
Santa squeezed down the wood burning stove pipe and brought me some nice items, so that was dope. He did not, though, however, take my dog like I asked him to. I asked him to leave me some good presents.
You left the dog
and then take
cookies?
Walter. Yeah, I wanted Walter to go with. So this is a totally random like rabbit hole, whatever. Walter, me and Lola's dog, who is a almost now 3-year-old English bulldog, just the sweetest, dumbest creature on the face of the earth. He has this new thing he's been doing lately, and I don't know why for the life of me, where if he gets outside, because we'll just kind of let him run around. He's too fat and like slow to like actually take off. He'll just kind of come back. He'll meander back 15 minutes later. But lately he's been staying outside longer and longer, and we can't figure out like where he is. And then every time, the last 3 or 4 times, he's been in the fire pit in the backyard, like eating ashes.
Huh.
Like, what is wrong with that thing?
That's a new one. That's a new one for me.
He'll come back in and like his white part of his face is all gray and black and dirty. Like what the dumbest. And you'll be like, Walter, get in here. And he'll kind of walk in like, what's up? Like oh my gosh, he's the worst. Anywho, all right, real quick, let's hit him with the Nate. Hit him with the socials and the YouTubes, and then I'll do the next one. We'll kind of flip. So we're kind of shooting from the hip here with no Lola because of Gus. But let's get after it. I want to get Austin in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Tackle and tacos on everything, as hopefully everybody knows, and any of our new listeners, Tackle and Tacos on Facebook and Instagram, as well as YouTube, where a bunch of our episodes are now going up. A lot of the stuff that we've been recording has not only been audio but been video as well. So that's super cool. I love that option. A couple different diversity, I guess you would call it, for listeners. So I'm definitely stoked about that. Of course, tackleandtacos.com, where you can get all the Tackle and Taco merch, which is hat, stickers, t-shirt, hopefully a couple other hats to come. So I'm still stoked for those. When those become available. So
if it happens.
It will definitely happen. So
check that stuff out.
Definitely check it out. All of our stuff airs at 5 a.m. Taco Tuesday. So
every Taco Tuesday.
Every Taco Tuesday. Yep.
5 a.m.
Yep, we're there getting them out to you guys as early as we can, so you can get to listening. So
listen on your way to work or watch on lunch break or whatever. But Taco Tuesday, tackling tacos, it's kind of gimmicky, but it kind of works. But this episode, like every other episode, is brought to you by the homies at Grizzly Coolers. They make a dope cooler, and specifically they make a lineup called Kenai, Kenai, on social for Facebook and Instagram. For them, it's Kenai Gear. But that stuff was designed specifically for fishing. It's like, that's pretty rad. And they just have some really dope colors, some cool stuff, some cool mugs, some cool tumblers, and all that kind of stuff. And with us being a part of the Working Class Bow Hunter Podcast Network, you can use the code WCB at Grizzly Coolers and get 10% off. And so, like, Grizzly Coolers, just like Yeti or whoever else, they're super solid, well-made coolers. And so they're not super, super cheap. So 10% off is like pretty substantial. So make sure you hit that up. hookandarrowsupply.com. Dope hoodies, dope bow shop, dope tackle shop. They also run all the Giltech stuffs, like the Giltech Marabou fur hair swim jig, tube jigs, the Giltech Northern swim jig, the heavy cover swim jig, the Ned heads. All the stuff they make is really like slowly, specifically, intentionally developed, so it swims straight, sharp hooks, designed very intentionally, like CAD drawings, everything. Hookandarrowsupply.com for that. We already mentioned it, but workingclassbowhunter.com. We're honored to be a part of their network of podcasts. They're getting ready. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this yet, but they're getting ready to grow a little bit there, so that's exciting. And then Waypoint TV, they jumped on right out of the gates, and so you can find all of our podcasts on Waypoint TV. I was actually talking to a feller named Turner today who works at Waypoint. He's kind of a bigwig there, about getting him on the podcast because he's just a cool dude. He loves the outdoors, he loves fishing, and so that'll be super fun.
Heck yeah.
Let me ask you this, Nate. We were talking about Christmas. Let me go backwards just for a quick second. I just had this sort of thought. With us and Austin as well, living in the Midwest where it's frozen for however many months a year, do you ask for fishing stuff for Christmas, or do you not, because you're not going to be using it anytime soon?
No, I ask for it every year.
I do too, but then it's kind of stupid. It's sort of torture almost.
Yeah, but I mean, it kind of like, it is definitely like torturous, because you can sit and look at it, but not actually get to use it. But you get to like enjoy its presence. Like, it makes you feel good knowing you have it. You know what I mean?
Enjoy
like,
its presence. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Like, it's funny. My father-in-law, he stops by every Sunday morning. Later in the morning, he stops by and, kind of just says hi, whatever. And he came in and he's like, I finally know what I want for Christmas. I'm like, okay.
All right. Opens the door with that.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, because we've been asking him. He's like, finally know what I want for Christmas. It's something I've had tons of luck with over the years, and I'm running out. I said, oh yeah, what's or
Not
tubes.
tubes.
You know what? Yeah,
Yeah.
what is no.
It's the only thing he throws.
KVD Strike King 1.5s in sexy shad.
Okay.
That's what he
Pretty
asked for.
yeah, pretty
Yes,
fundamental, typical.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
are you
Shallow
gonna go
water
cop
cranker.
some?
Yeah, actually, I stopped by our little local shop K&K
Yeah.
this afternoon, and they didn't have any of the like original sexy shad, so I got
Oh,
like
snap.
citrus sexy shad and
Okay.
chrome sexy
He's
shad.
gonna
So
be
I'll
so
order.
mad. He's gonna be
He'll
so
be fired up
disappointed.
for sure. Yeah.
This ain't
So
what I
I'll order.
said.
So I'll order him some originals.
Yeah. Are
Off
those
the
still
old
cheap? Are the
interweb.
KVD? I mean, no diss to
No.
Strike King at all, but like I don't really use a ton of like I do have some KVD jerk baits that I got that were like on clearance for like $3 or something. And everybody who fishes a square bill has a couple KVD square bills, but like I haven't bought them forever. Are they still pretty cheap?
No, they're not.
Oh,
They're
no.
they're about priced right in range with your typical 1.5 size square bill at
Like Lucky Craft, because
7.
like Lucky Crafts are like $8-9.
Yeah, they're $7-8, so
Okay. Yeah, so not
they're right there,
super, not
6.99,
stupid yet.
7.99. No,
Yeah.
not crazy. But they do have some
They're
good
not like the
looking
Mega
colors in
Bass like
that.
Sonic Side or FX Knuckles or like
Right, no,
$25.
yeah, $22.99 or nothing like that. No,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so it was pretty easy to go grab some of those, and I'll, like I said, order them some of the other ones on.
So to answer my own random stupid question, I always ask for fishing stuff too, and then I'll like bring it out here and like put it in the boat. Or I have a specific like deep Plano box for like new stuff, like where I haven't like, sorted it yet. So I'll put like some stuff in there, and I'll go back and the one thing I was really asking Lola for, my wife, this year, because it's kind of funny, like when you buy each other stuff for Christmas because it's all the same money or whatever. But anywho, I was telling her like I really have wanted for a long time a Mega Bass jerkbait rod, and this year I'm really trying to focus more on like jerkbaiting more because I've always done it, but I usually kind of give it up after the water warms up, and I really want to stick with it this year, like all the year through. I love jerkbaiting, and I only have a couple jerkbait rods. And anywho, but I'm excited to see it, not just because like I want to use it, but like Mega Bass rods just look so good. Like they just won an award in Japan for design that has nothing to do with fishing, like just a design award because their stuff looks so dope. And we're going to bring Austin in just a second, but I think he is, I hope he is still sponsored by Eris rods, which I don't know anything about other than the fact that they look so cool. Like they just have some really neat designs, and like they have that one series, it's called like Stargate or something like that, and it kind of looks like the Shimano like the Poison Adrena rod or whatever that is, and the ones where it's like kind of graphite-y all the way down the butt for like sensitivity. So I'm pumped to ask Austin about some of that stuff. But Nate, hit us with this dude's intro and let's get after it.
I mean, I don't know if we have enough time because it's getting pretty lengthy as he continues to fish, He does for sure. So so he's not only an elite series angler, as we mentioned before, but he also was the college national championship for the Golden Gophers. When he entered into the elite series, he won Rookie of the Year, which that's and a crazy accolade in itself.
That's like the one thing you only got one shot at that. Like you got the classic 100%. Is dope, and winning a blue trophy is dope, and winning AOY is dope, but you got one shot at Rookie of the Year. Like that's pretty legit.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure he ran away with that Rookie of the Year that year, but he's fished 57 tournaments with BASS. He's been in the money 43 times. Like so like it's just nuts. He's got a victory on Oahe, so he's got him a blue trophy, which I think we'll see in the background of his screen here when he comes on. He fished the FLW as well, where he had countless top tens. I think 11 top tens in FLW, 11 top tens in bass. Like the dude is a fish catcher.
He's a hammer.
An absolute hammer. Stud.
Yeah. So they call this dude the Sleepy Assassin. I want to call him the Nuh-Night Ninja because that's what we say to Gus when it's time to go to bed. Nuh-Night. So I'm gonna call him the Nuh-Night Ninja. I'm gonna call him the Pajama Pants Prince. Ladies and gentlemen, we're so pumped to bring in to you right now the one, the only, from Eden Prairie, Minnesota, Austin Felix. Hey.
Happy New Year.
Hey.
Right, yeah, right there.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's hey, happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, we don't know what's going on with dates here. That's like it's cool to go live, but like we're not, and so the dates are all goofed up. Let me ask you the very first question out of the gates, Austin. Only because I've heard some different things on it. The Sleepy Assassin, was that a Mercer nickname or a Zona nickname?
No, I was Mercer.
Okay.
All Mercer.
Yeah. All right. I just heard somebody recently or read something that Zona did it, and maybe he just jumped on board with it. Do you think Mercer sits around and comes like at night when he's in his hotel, like during derbies, and like comes up with names for people, or does it just flow to him? What do you think?
I mean, I've asked him that a few times, and 90% of the stuff he does seems to be just right off the cuff. Like, whether it's unbelievable or all that stuff, that it wasn't something that he really thought of in advance. The few times or everything that I've talked to him about seemed to be more organic, and that's kind of the way it.
Yeah, I see him like sitting around on Sundays, like just like. You know, picturing that he's got the top 10 listed out, and he's just trying to like come up with stuff.
Nicknames.
But, I mean, he's pretty busy to be doing that on Championship Sunday. So
no doubt.
I do believe that it comes pretty natural to him.
The one that I will say that I don't know if it came natural, or maybe he just said it once and then he was like, "Oh, that was good," and he just went with it. Was when he said Christy conquers the classic 419 times on that final day. Christy conquers the classic, and then it was like a little gap, and he was like, Christy conquers the class. He just kept on going with it. So I don't know if he had that scripted or if he was just like, this was really good. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah. Once he thinks of something, I'm pretty sure he leans into it really hard. But
that's probably exactly what it is. He was like, okay, that was good. Let me go. Yeah.
Yeah. So Austin, man, thanks for joining us tonight. We greatly appreciate it. And you know, we're gonna kind of go over our question categories for you, and kind of I think let you pick and choose, or maybe we might just go down the line. But it's you know, pretty straightforward. As you know, all of our Tackle and Taco listeners know, taco questions, of course.
Yeah.
A cool one that we do, which is one of your favorites, which is kind of like a rapid fire. Just we ask you a question, you let us know what one of your favorites is. Austin specific questions, fishing specific questions. We got a special one for you, which is going to be Harry Potter specific questions. Okay, so
which Nate is going to have nothing to do with. Nate
will... like next to zero. If it has anything to do with Harry Potter specifically, I might be there, but anything outside of that, I'm going to be
dips out of the
lost.
frame.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'll be gone. And I think one of our last ones will probably be our show and tell one, which has always been pretty cool. We haven't done it on every video episode, but we've done it on a few, and it's gone over really, really well. So we're stoked for that one. So
where do you want to start, Austin? You pick the first category, and then we'll just roll from there.
Oh, I wasn't paying that close of attention. You might as well start from the top, whatever.
All right, we'll go with taco questions then. Nate, you're up first. Taco questions.
Yeah. So let us know. Do you have you've got a favorite taco spot there in Eden Prairie? That you know, a place you'd like to go. Name somewhere you want to drop.
I mean, I don't have a. So honestly, I eat a lot more like fajitas than tacos 90% of the time.
That's a taco though, still, you know?
Yeah. It's like I'm way more into like diced chicken or like steak as opposed to like ground meat in my taco kind of thing.
Yeah.
There isn't really a super fancy one. When I think of like going out for tacos, I actually think of running down to Lake Lanier with my buddies down there. Trent at Sonar Pros rigs my boat, and he's got a awesome taco joint right by his house. So it's like every time I go down there, we eat there like 3 times a week. And
that's awesome.
I don't even remember what the name of it is, probably because of margaritas, but
good reason not to know.
But yeah, that's like the first thing I think of when I think about eating tacos. Like we go every time I roll through Cummings, Georgia and Sonar Pros, it's like taco night at least once or twice a week.
That's the spot then. Yeah, that sounds dope to me, man. Do you cook at all, Austin?
A little bit, not a ton.
Okay. So you're not, I mean, with you being in Minnesota, I know you said you hunt and stuff. Do you ever do like wild game or even like perch or walleye tacos, anything like that?
I don't cook them. Like I will provide the walleye or the venison, but I'm not usually the cook. I have cooked on occasion. I don't tend to do it just because I don't want people to realize that I know how to cook, because then they'll ask me to do it more often. And I'm not really into the whole like smoking and grilling thing yet.
Yeah.
Maybe when I get my own place with a backyard or something, I'll get more into smoking pork butts and that kind of deal. But
Attaboy.
I haven't really done it yet.
Yeah, for sure. So how's you, it's kind of a side note, how's your hunting been so far this year?
Decent. Shot a lot of pheasants, but
snap.
That's good because like the weather's been so mild, which makes pheasant hunting good, but makes duck hunting terrible and deer hunting not very good either. So yeah, it's been kind of a mixed bag, but I've been still getting out a lot. I actually started helping out volunteering around here with a group called Capable Partners, and they basically take handicap individuals and wounded veterans and stuff like that out duck hunting and deer hunting and stuff like that. So
awesome.
They got the cool thing is they have permission on some like federal land like close to the city that most people aren't allowed to hunt. So like
cool.
You're able to wheel them out there or if they need to, or they're able to get them out there, and they can still enjoy the outdoors while get to shoot some ducks. And it's right by the house, man. So it's easy.
Yeah, good for you, dude. I love that.
Super cool.
That's really dope. So what do you prefer most as far as hunting? I saw a picture that you posted where you were up like 300 feet in a tree and a stand that looks like it was like homemade or something. Are you mostly a deer guy? Are you mostly a duck guy? Upland? Like what's your, if you could pick one, what's your favorite?
Nowadays, I tend to pheasant hunt more than anything else. Deer hunting is like a week long during rifle season is when we go up. We got a hunting camp north of Orr, Minnesota. So almost up to where like Gussie is. And at this point, there's more wolves than deer. So it's kind of go hang out and drink old fashions and sit in a tree for the mornings and stuff. But like, I was the only one of the four of us that saw a deer this year, and I passed on it just because it was a little buck and it wasn't really the deal. Kind of getting more into the bow hunting thing. I'm going to next year. I ordered a bow, but I really got in with these Capable Partners guys the last year or two, so I haven't done the deer hunting side yet, but they got some stuff to help out for that too, real close to the house. So we're going to get involved in that, which will be fun. Like I said, the duck hunting thing is with them, but mainly pheasant hunting. Me and my cousin has 2 German wire hair pointers, so
perfect.
We go out and do that. I'm actually going tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Heck yeah. So we're both pretty big bow hunters as well. What bow did you order?
I ordered a new lift.
Who makes that? I don't know if I even know what that is.
The Matthews.
Sure. Oh, that is the new Matthews.
It's the new Matthews that came out. That
like
I tried to get. I tried to get a bow in like end of October, or like early November. So I was like thinking about getting a phase 4, but I'm a left-handed. So then they're like, there's no real point in ordering one now. Let's just order you one as soon, because they announced the lift like 4 days after I went into Capra Sporting Goods to go do it. He's like, yeah, we'll just order you one then. And now I found out that you can't even, I'm not going to be able to get it till March. So now I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs in the meantime.
Oh, that sucks.
But
jeez, that's torture. But yeah, if you would have said phase 4, I knew that one. I should know what the lift is, but I wasn't familiar with it. But that's exciting, dude, for sure. Yeah,
I'm excited. It'll be something new to do.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, that's super fun.
So back to the food a little bit. Do you have any like pre-derby food traditions or anything at all that you like to go eat, before day one blast off or anything like that?
So I travel with Brian New and Jake Whitaker, and Brian New's wife comes a lot of the time. And then for the summer events, my girlfriend Aletha will show up and Jake's wife will sometimes show up. But we basically sort of have a rotation of maybe 4 or 5 things that Brittany cooks really well that we just always seem to eat. Plus Brian is the pickiest eater in the world. So,
so we'll have to not have him on the show because like, what do you think about tacos? And he'll be
oh
like,
he loves tacos.
Oh, okay,
night,
dope.
Taco Tuesday, taco night is one of our nights.
Oh,
usually.
Awesome! Yeah,
and then it's usually like an Alfredo night, and then Brittany makes something called like Saluda rice, which is like brown rice and a bunch of beef broth, and then like beef roast in a crock pot all day kind of deal combination.
Sounds awesome.
A lot of mac and cheese and obviously pizza one night, but that's kind of like some rotation of that 4 or 5 events. Sometimes you double up on them depending on how well you're doing in the tournament.
Yeah, that's dope, dude. So is that why you don't want people to know you can cook? Is because then you'll get looped in on that rotation and have to be like the guy for one of those nights?
That's part of it.
Yeah. That's strategic. I like it, dude. What's one of the best? Let's just do this. Can be generic. You said you're a fajita guy. What's one of the best tacos you've ever had? And we'll include fajitas in it because isn't a fajita just like a sizzling taco anyway? I mean, honestly,
soft shell taco.
It really is. So what's one of your favorite tacos you've ever had?
Man, I don't know. Like I just keep going back to Georgia and just like so. I would go there and it'd come in like 6 carnita or like 6 steak tacos.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I would order like 2 full orders. So I'd have 12 of them. And it kind of like that's the way it worked out for me. So like every time I go there, I need 2 full orders. So they just kind of look at you like, whatever. But I eat them all. And it's just steak, cheese, and cilantro and salsa. And
heck yeah, dude, that sounds awesome. Honestly, I like to keep it simple too when I'm making tacos like that. Or in those little ones, dude, you can just like 2 bite them, just go through them quick for sure.
I like flour tortillas over corn tortillas. But.
Yes, nice. I'm a flour guy too.
I go back and forth on it depending on the taco, corn, but. So. Yeah, I feel like way whiter when I have flour tortillas, but I also am actually pretty dang white, and so I guess it sort of like works. But like I don't know. And whenever I try to do corn ones, because I think like when you go to a Mexican restaurant, and you do the corn, like you kind of bundle it up as you eat it, you know. And like when I do corn, like as soon as I like squish it up, it just rips every time, and I'm like, God dang it, you know, like why am I even trying to be so authentic? It ain't working out. Yeah. Let's jump into one of your favorites, Nate. We'll go every other because again, Lola, she'll be back out. Hopefully Gus will stop crying and start sleeping at some point. But let's go every other. So this is one of your favorite, Austin. So it doesn't have to be like your number one, but like maybe the first thing that pops in your head. We'll kind of rapid fire go through it. One of your favorite, fill in the blanks. Nate, go.
So what is one of your favorite ways to fish?
I mean, I grew up largemouth fishing. My favorite way to do it is flipping milfoil. That's just the way I grew up.
Awesome.
On Minnetonka, big weight, big line. And don't get to do it very much anymore. They've killed so much of the milfoil and just traveling around. It's just not something I get to do. Smallmouth fishing, honestly, like I really like scoping at this point. Like I think it's really fun. Like I understand a lot of people don't think it's the coolest thing to watch, but when you're there and you're catching fish constantly, like it's a lot of fun and you get to learn a lot of new things.
That's one of my things about it is like if it's a tool that helps you like catch fish faster, like that's what you got for is to catch
and just learn
is to catch them. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because you'll see them come in, like especially on the jerk bait, and then you'll see them dip back out, and you're like, oh, I did something wrong there or whatever. Yeah, it's awesome.
But you know, there's been years where I'll turn into Bass Live or something like that, and I'll watch it for 45 minutes and I'll see one fish catch. And now that live scopes out and some of the up north tournaments, there's people are catching 5 and 6 pounders every 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, they're jumping all over.
Yeah, like it's so entertaining. Yeah, like I'm a big fan. So that's a good one.
Yeah, for sure. All right, one of your favorite Austin movies.
Oh brother, where art thou?
Oh, dude, get out of
that's
here.
A good one.
Oh, we in a tight spot. Yeah, that's such a good one, dude.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Songs. What's your favorite song?
I couldn't even think of correct. Something
from Oh Brother, We're Out There.
right?
I mean, yeah, like I've worn out like Dan Tominski radio on Pandora, like back when I was in FLW days and stuff, just like bluegrass stuff. But
yeah,
like I'll listen to hip hop and all sorts of stuff too. Yeah, like I'm all over the place when it comes to music.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of is, which is dope.
The other thing about it is like
am.
it's a joke between my friends and even my girlfriend and stuff. Like I know a lot of songs and I know the lyrics to almost everything, but when they ask me, even if I'm singing along, like who's this? I have no idea. Like name recognition, whether it's that or just like people or anything, is just one ear in ear out the other, and it's like I don't know. So like
that's funny. You can know every word and you don't know who the heck it is, or you couldn't find it or something, but it pops on and you're just on it. Yeah.
Yeah, don't know the name of the song or the band, but
you know the song.
Lyrics.
Yeah. One of your favorite drinks while fishing derbies.
On the water, I'll drink like one Monster a day, and other than that, it's pretty much just water.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I pretty much only drink lemon lime LaCroix like 99% of the time.
Dang it! I wish Lola was here. She loves lemon lime LaCroix. She loves it. I wish she was here to hear that.
Like I carry like 10 cases in the back of my truck when I leave because I'm usually gone for like a month or two.
Oh my gosh!
But
yeah, you really love it. Yeah,
for sure. What's a go-to snack while fishing a derby on the boat? Snack.
The best snack are Dots pretzels. This is really funny because I literally have all this stuff right here.
That's amazing. It's like you didn't. He didn't know the questions. We didn't show him the questions at all. This is off the cuff. And Dots are so freaking good, dude. Nate introduced me to Dots while we were fishing the derby on Lost Grove. He's like, "You had these?" I'm like, "Pretzels?" He's like, "No. These aren't just pretzels. Whatever."
They're so addicting.
Pretzels.
Yeah, they're super good.
Crazy. I got all my buddies from like Georgia and everything hooked on them during that like Oahe tournament because they sell them all over the place in South Dakota and stuff. And I mean they're everywhere now, but like they kind of originated around here. So
that's awesome.
You got a favorite flavor?
The original one. I like are way better than the other one.
Yeah, there's a dude I work with who's always chewing on those Dots. They're like cinnamon and sugar ones. It's not really my jam. I wanted to like it, but it's weird because it still just tastes like a pretzel that you dipped in like something sweet. You know, it's like it's a weird combo for me. But
yeah, I haven't tried that one. I've tried like the Southwestern and the cheese one and stuff. But the original ones are just amazing.
I like to change it up a bit with the honey mustard ones. Those ones are pretty solid.
Those are all right. Yeah,
the original is the best.
The original is where it's at. Yeah. What's one of your favorite material things that you own?
I think that's supposed to be my show and tell.
Oh yeah, we could do that. Let's transition to go to show and tell. What do you
want to do that right now?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no rules. We can shoot whatever you want. So, Austin, what did you bring for show and tell then?
So the deal is. So I told you this before, but Doug Shermer, for I don't know, it must be 30 years, has been doing all the like artwork for the Bassmaster magazine. So if you win a tournament or if you're doing like a technique specific article in the magazine, you'd see like the painted sort of deals for that were in the magazine as opposed to like a photo or something like that. And when I won, this is going to be probably unprofessional to do, but so this is the one that Doug did for the article for my win on Oahe, but this is the actual like canvas version.
Wow.
This is the actual one he did. And he showed up at the Classic at Knoxville this year, and he gets a few of them signed by the guys, and he came up to me to get it signed, and that's why my signature's on it. And so he signed that, and then like I basically begged him to get me a print or something like that, and he finally caved and let me have the actual like original artwork. So I got that framed and everything in the room. That's kind of the coolest thing I think I got.
Yeah, that's a really good show and tell, dude. So just to be clear, so he came to you like, hey, sign this. And then you were like, no, you sign it and let me have it.
Kinda. It was like, can you get me a print was the original thing I wanted.
Okay.
Like, and he's like, I guess you can just have this one after I said it 3 times.
Dang. That's sick, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty dang good material thing. That's pretty great for sure.
Yeah, it's kind of unique. I mean, there's like the trophies and stuff. I don't know, where's the camera over there?
Yeah. Isn't that awkward? I always try to do that, and I'll look on the camera, and I can never. It feels like it should be easy, but it's not. Yeah, that's dope, dude. Yeah, I do see a rather large blue one there in the background, which I think would be the envy of basically every bass fisherman on Earth. But yeah, I do like what you chose for sure.
That's cool, but there's 9 of those a year, and that artwork's one of a kind. So.
Absolutely, dude. All right, so let's breeze through the rest of these, Nate. One of your favorite guilty pleasures, for example, this is embarrassing to admit, but my wife and I watched this stupid show on Netflix called Virgin River. It's basically like a romance show where people get in fights every once in a while. It's terrible, but we like watching it. What's one of your guilty pleasures?
Like besides watching like Harry Potter and stuff, I guess I watch a lot of anime.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
That's probably a guilty pleasure. It's kind of embarrassing for most people to say.
I don't think so. I think that's dope, dude. I think do you, man. That's dope.
Yeah.
Well, one of your favorite finesse techniques.
My favorite finesse techniques. I mean, it'd just be like either drop shotting or like the cool new thing right now is the whole BUA rig, like jig and minnow kind of fluke style bait. That's a cool new thing. It's still kind of under the radar a little bit. Like the fish aren't completely used to it yet, but it's becoming really popular. That's pretty fun to do just because it's kind of new, and I'm still like learning a lot about it and like still trying to perfect it as opposed to like drop shots we've all been throwing for 20 years, but they still work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those are probably the 2 sort of more subtle things that do a lot of work with here.
What's one of your favorite ways to blow off steam?
Shoot, I mean, I basically just fish or hunt. That's basically it.
Yeah, so you fish for a living, like professionally. Is there something like cathartic, like sort of a release for you when you fish, but it's not in a competitive setting?
Yeah. Like when I get back home, usually it takes like 2 days of like unwinding before I'm like ready to go again. And then I'm like, I got to go up to Mille Lacs or whatever just to fish for the day, or I'll go every day during the week and take the weekends off just because, I don't know, I feel like it's practice. I don't work out. Like I'm not going to go for a run or go lift weights. So I'm kind of like, this is my sort of training.
Yeah.
Right. Makes sense.
Like the only exercise I get is hunting, which is pheasant hunting will murder most people.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Walking through all those weeds and tall grass, for sure.
Yeah, that'll turn a hip flexor on fire real quick.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your favorite pajama pant pattern?
Pajama pants pattern?
I mean, it really depends. Like I honestly have like 10 pairs maybe.
Okay.
And all different plaids and everything.
Do you have them there? You're looking over to the side. You have the dots and the LaCroix. Do you have pajama pants?
I mean,
there?
In the closet over there. Yeah, I got them. But like for a while, I called one pair my classy pair of pajama pants because it had it had little sailboats on them, and I'm just like, it's like more classy than like plaid.
Yeah,
like,
almost like golf pants.
Yeah, like date night pajama pants.
Yeah. And I mean, I do have a pair of those. The pair of pants that I wear like on the classic stage and stuff, the blue Argyle ones. Yeah, they actually are golf pants. They're not pajama pants because my rookie year, Bassmaster had essentially a dress code.
Like a dress code, right.
And you weren't allowed to wear jeans even. So. Like Ronnie Moore, when I made the Elite Series coming over from FLW, he's like, you realize you're not going to be able to wear your pajama pants anymore. So like, I found a pair of like John Daly freaking golf pants that look from 100 feet away, when
Those are
everybody
pajama
already is
pants.
thinking pajama pants, like
Yeah.
they're still pajama pants to everybody. So, like,
And
I
is that
found
the
a
pattern you
loophole.
have on your truck and your boat wrap too?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
I love that, dude. I didn't know that's what that was from. I kind of figured, but I didn't know for sure. That's really clever. That's funny as crap, dude.
Strategically picked out. That's awesome. Yeah.
Let's jump. Who one of your favorite upcoming or like young anglers?
Favorite upcoming young anglers. Shoot. Like already on the leads, probably Jay. Like what that kid did at 20 years old or whatever is
Crazy.
bananas.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Like, and the fact that he's from nearby.
Right.
Like I feel like everybody else lumps like Minnesota, Wisconsin, and like Gussie all into just like one big group. So like I feel like we have the ability to do that too if we want. We can just take credit for everybody up here.
Yeah, which begs the question, like why does bass not fish up here at all? Like the northern swing is always the northeastern swing. Why can't it be somewhere up here? I mean, like Lake of the Woods is 1 million acres. Like Mille Lacs is pretty huge. I mean, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they're trying to do with the Leech Lake Open tournament. They're going to try to give that a try to kind of feel it out. I think it would probably be easier to go like Elite Series event with only 100 guys as opposed to 250 or whatever.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you probably don't need like there's not going to be that much to show off at the Opens. You don't need a giant stage and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'm not sure. It's the first time they've come back to Minnesota since the Mille Lacs tournaments, and I think that the Mille Lacs tournaments went well, whether or not they had some like behind the scenes issues or whatnot with DNR or anything. I don't know, but the other issue is what's that?
Weren't those Mille Lacs tournaments just like championships too, where it was only like the top 50 or something like that?
Yeah, they were the top 50, and they had to get around the like slot limits and stuff like that, which I don't think would be that difficult. But it's just, I wish they come back. Like if I could pick one place in the world they come back to, it'd be Mille Lacs, just because I love that place. But
heck yeah. I don't know if I've even told you this story, Nate, but a few years ago, my stepdad, Scott, we were talking, I think when we were up in Canada fishing, and he said something about, like if things get hard, we could always go to my cabin in Mille Lacs or whatever. And I didn't even know he had a cabin on Mille Lacs. Like, what the crap does that work?
You've told me this, and we still haven't been to that
and
cabin.
We still haven't been there, but I'm like, you're in my family. You have a cabin on an absolute smallmouth muskie factory, and like we've never been to it. Like, what kind of monster are you? Like, what the crap? Oh, Lola's coming back. She's made. Is the child asleep? I think so. Well, that's good news. Hey.
Whoops. Hey guys.
Welcome back.
You are. Yeah, welcome back. So we're doing one of your favorite right now. We're having fun. We did one of your favorite, and one of the questions was material possession, and that jumped right into his show and tell already, and you missed it, and it was amazing. And one of his favorite things to drink is lemon lime LaCroix.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, Lola would love to hear that.
That is so good.
Yeah.
Key lime LaCroix is also delicious,
like
and the limoncello.
Wow. Okay, there we go. See, so I told you she would like it. So let's do one last one. One of your favorites. Nate, hit that very bottom one, and then we'll go into the Austin specific. What do you want to do next, Austin? Do you want to go Austin specific questions or Harry Potter questions next?
Oh, let's just do Austin specific ones, I guess.
Okay. All right.
We'll get through all the other ones first, and then for the people that don't want to tune into Harry Potter,
if you want to end this podcast before we get too nerdy, Nate will leave, and then it'll be just me and Lola and Austin.
Peace.
That'll be that'll be your time to go upstairs. But hit him with that last one, Nate.
Yeah. So what's one of the things you do on your day off when you don't have anything scheduled at all?
Sort tackle.
Is that therapeutic for you? Like, do you like doing that?
If I have a day off, then I do. Like trying to get stuff done like during an event is like I'll just throw it in a pile or throw it out and get a new one or whatever. But like I've been in the basement for hours the last couple of days, just like between everything I've ordered new over the last 2 months, it's like, oh, I need that for next year. Oh, I need some of these. I don't even know what that is, but I need one of those. And like just trying to put it in the right box and like make sure everything's sorted. So when I get 1,000 miles south, I know where it is if I decide I need it.
Smart.
So like I spend a lot of time putting stuff in big Ziploc bags or putting stuff in little Ziploc bags and putting little Ziploc bags into bigger Ziploc bags.
I like it.
Like, because I got to carry everything with me. Because coming from up here, usually we have a couple events and it just doesn't make sense to drive back and forth all the time.
Sure.
So I'll pack for several events in a row and I'll be on the road for like a month at a time. So trucks full, boats full of tackle, and I need to be able to find what I need.
Man, I feel like I would be so scared doing that. Trying to pack for that long, that many derbies away. Like,
I mean, I can't even pack clothes for the weekend.
Yeah, do you get anxiety about that? Thinking like, oh, what if I need this or what if I need that? Or do you kind of have it down now?
Just bring everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I just leave my smallmouth stuff here for the first 4.
Sure.
And then once I get back home from Alabama in June or whatever, I'll
change it up.
Remove all the big baits and stuff and put more spinning poles and more small stuff in and finish the year. So it's kind of like you can fit a lot of stuff in a 21-foot Phoenix and a back of a Chevy truck. So
no, I'm sure you've tested that for sure. Yeah, that's dope. What were you gonna say, Nate? I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask if you're one of those guys who you're able to like stay like kind of like reorganize post like every tournament, or do you like organize at the beginning of the year and then everything just goes to heck until you you get a good long break and you're able to like reorganize then?
Oh, that is a good question.
Yeah, I'll usually reorganize the boat like a couple of times throughout the season.
Sure.
I don't ever clean my boat, so like I'll organize and sort tackle and make sure everything's good, but like I never wipe down my boat or like spray it down. I don't know. I drive so far, it's like I could clean my boat, but then I'm gonna drive 1,000 miles and it's gonna be covered in grime.
Yeah, that's true.
But
that's a good point.
It's not a superstitious thing like Seth Fighter. You just don't do it.
No, and I've been around Seth enough to know like how wild he is with all that stuff for a while. But no, I don't have any real superstitions, especially that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
All right, I got a side note question while we're mentioning Mr. Fighter. You got any good Seth Fighter stories? I know you guys are buddies, so like just like a good Seth Fighter story.
Good Seth
doesn't have to be anything too crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. So like, his, like, obviously we know about his rituals and like how obsessed he is with them. One of the funniest things is like he thinks spiders are lucky. I don't know if you've heard this one or not.
I don't think I have. What the heck?
So he thinks spiders are lucky. So like, if you're in his boat and you like kill a spider, like he'll get legitimately mad at you and yell at you for it. So like you have to just let this. So
let the spider live.
This is way back during our like Denny's days before either one of us like had even gone regional. But he let somebody else borrow his boat one day for an event because they like broke down or whatever. And I remember the first thing they said is, "We're gonna have to go through and kill all these spiders." And like, he got so mad at him for it. It was just
my gosh! What's the start of that? Like, that's a weird one. How does that even become a thing?
Dude, he's just got like his old man is like he hands out lucky rocks and stuff. It's just he grew up with that kind of deal. So.
That's funny.
It works for him. So
yeah, he's a good angler. I was gonna come up with like a stupid question, but like, if we had to pit, like you were saying, we're all kind of together in this thing, like Gussie and Minnesota and Wisconsin and whatever. If we had to pit like Wisconsin anglers versus Minnesota anglers, like who wins that? Because there's some really good hammers in both states, like with you and Fighter and Bob Downey, although Bob Downey's kind of
say me? Is that what
mutant,
you're talking about? I'm just
then
kidding.
And Lola. And then here, obviously you have like Shakirid and Schlapper and Caleb Kupal, and I mean, I don't know what is it? Who do you think wins that battle?
I don't know. I think me and Seth would take down most of them.
Okay,
Ooh.
all right, I hear you talking.
I mean, granted, like Jay, like I said before, Jay's been freaking a phenom the last 2 years, so
he's been real good.
he's been hard to beat. But
yeah,
I mean, if we're doing like average position out of the group, I think we can take him.
Okay,
Like,
all right,
I like it.
I like it too.
Like Caleb's already won, and like he's phenomenal, but like he's more up and down. Like he'll
sure he is
catch the hell out of him one tournament and have
and
a rough
like
one.
90th,
and
then yeah.
And Schlapper, his rookie year, kind of struggled to start with. Last year he did phenomenal, and it seemed like every tournament. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be tough, but I'm always gonna bet on me.
I like it,
Hey,
dude. That's dope,
so
dude.
cool.
Yeah, that was like the
That's
best
good.
answer. No, because
Yeah.
it was like confident, but it wasn't arrogant.
Yeah,
And
it
you're
was
exactly
super
right.
honest.
Like, okay, so we actually asked this question last week with Rich. Do you know Rich Hellabass? Do you know that dude?
Yeah, Lindgren. Yeah.
Yeah. I figure he's a Minnesota guy also. But we were talking to him last week about like sort of like the mindset, the competitive mindset of anglers. And I shared what I think is a super funny story of Kobe Bryant when he was playing a dude, and it was in between the third and fourth quarter, and the Lakers were losing, and he went up to this dude that was guarding him, and he like put his hand out to like high five him, was like, "Hey man, good game." And the guy was like, "What? It's not even like the fourth quarter." He's like, "Yeah, but the game's over. Good game." And then he just went on and just murdered him and scored like 30 something points in the fourth and whatever. Like, what do you think? How important is that mindset of like confidence and like knowing who you are and how you can fish? How does that really relate to like on the water performance?
I mean, at this level, if you don't get to the tournament venue with the feeling like you can win the event, like you have the talent level to do so, like you're probably not where you're supposed to be. And it's not like be overconfident saying I'm going to win every single one. Like by the end of practice, you might not think that anymore. You might understand like this is a punt tournament and I'm just going to try to salvage points or try to get 10 grand. But like if you're feeling like you can't show up scared against this group of anglers, and like
that's good.
Because when you do that, like you fish tentatively, you don't fish to win, you fish to try to just stay there, and you can let a lot of guys end up pushing you around and stuff. Because I mean, most of us are friends, but at the same time, it's a competition, so you got to kind of balance the two.
Yeah, was that okay? I'm sorry, I'm like going on this because you got. I'm feeling real curious about you, Austin, as a human. So you won Rookie of the Year. Was that 2020 that you won Rookie of the Year on the Elites?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Let's check one of the many trophies.
Is that what the trophy says? Yeah.
That's what that's the ugliest trophy on the planet, though. Like, have you seen them every year since? They like get all nice and they're like glass and stuff, but that's literally like painted neon yellow.
They forgot to get one. They went to like the local shop beforehand. They're like, "Crap, we forgot Austin's trophy." Yeah. But like going in as a rookie, was that like something that comes natural to you? Like that ability to kind of like make that tough guy face, like, kind of in your guts and go for it? Or did you have to like tell yourself like, dude, I belong here. Like, I'm going to go after it.
So like my rookie year, the Elite Series was actually my 5th year fishing professionally. Like I fished the FLW for 4 years. So like I had already fished against high level competition, kind of understood how you practice and like how you competed and whatnot. So there was still this wonder of whether or not I can compete on the Elite Series. Like how much higher is this step going to be? Like where am I going to be here? Because I've qualified for 3 straight Forest Wood Cups and stuff as I left, and qualified obviously for the Elites through the Opens, and like a lot of people that I've fished against, a lot of my friends that either moved over there, like Brian, a bunch of them were rookies the same year I were, so we were all kind of, we knew the talent level, and it was just whether or not it would transfer to the Elite Series. And I was fortunate enough to come out on top. If we had another event, it's very likely that I wouldn't have won it, because it kind of went back and forth between, like, people don't think how strong that Elite Series rookie season was. Like Taku was in there,
Oh yeah.
Brian Schmidt, who just won AOI this year. Why can't I think of his name?
Oh, Kyle Welcher.
Kyle Welcher. Kyle Welcher finished
Yeah.
second. We were battling out to like the last day.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that was like certified killers, dude.
Like Buddy Gross has won 2 Elite Series events. He was a rookie. John Cox wasn't technically a rookie because he won too many tournaments. So like,
right.
But he came in at like it was stiff competition. Like everybody talks about this year, like we had 4 Elite Series rookies win tournaments this year.
Right. Yeah.
And that rookie season was stacked. But I'm like, shoot, our rookie season was stacked too. Like,
yeah,
I think 3 of us finished in the top 10 or 11 in AOI. So,
wow, gosh, that's sick, man. That's impressive. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Well, okay. Can I ask a question? I don't know if you guys covered this already when I was tending to the children.
Yeah.
I just want to know like more about you. Like, tell us, like, who are you? Who's Austin Felix?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, yeah. Like, however deep or shallow or whatever. But yeah, who are you? I mean, we know you're a great angler, but past that,
like, what makes you who you are, and what do you like to do, and all the things.
I don't know. Like I'm 39, so I feel like I've been doing this like pretty much my whole adult life.
Yeah.
At this point, like
you look good for 39. You don't look 39.
Played a bunch of sports like throughout high school and growing up and stuff.
What sports?
Baseball and basketball mostly.
Okay.
But like my senior year of high school, kind of figured out I can't throw hard enough to ever do anything and play baseball. So
yeah,
I really leaned into fishing a lot more. And after high school, I went to 1 year community college and basically wasn't really that into it. Got all right grades, B's and C's, but then I decided to like take a year off, and that turned into like 3 or 4 years off.
That
but
happens.
I still felt like it was still my education, because that was basically when a few of us around here, me, Seth, John Figgy, and just like a group of local hammers, we all just kind of fished every single day, and we kind of bounced information off each other and like fished together, and we all kind of honed our craft for 3 or 4 years, and we all became like really successful, like around the Twin Cities. And then I went back to college part-time, and then back to the U, and I kind of went the college fishing route. And before college fishing, like I never really thought that I would ever be fishing the Elite Series or the FLW Tour. That was one of the bad things about fishing Lake Minnetonka or like Denny's. I don't know if you guys have heard of those and stuff, but it's the biggest circuit in the Twin Cities and like has the most talent. And in order for you to compete in the Denny's, you basically have to fish Lake Minnetonka 5 days a week and like be out there every day, because it's always changing. And like they get so much pressure. And so it taught me a lot, but at the same time, I got this like false idea in my head that I need to have this same amount of like in-depth knowledge of every lake that I fish if I want to compete at that level. So what do I need to know to compete while traveling around the country? Well, I was fortunate enough to get into college fishing. You don't have to pay for entry fees and stuff. So I was able to travel for 4 different tournaments my first year. And really quickly, I realized that I don't need that kind of knowledge, because everybody else doesn't have that knowledge either. As long as you like understand bass behavior and understand all that stuff, you should be able to compete. So that kind of flipped everything on its head for me. And then I was fortunate enough to win the college national championship that first year. And
that's awesome.
Kind of like, well, if I might as well like take a chance and try it. And I was fortunate enough, like my parents gave me the seed money for my first year on the FLW tour. And
that's cool.
I was lucky enough to like win enough to like keep my head above water the first year and kind of like deal with the learning curve of learning how to compete. And then at my rookie year, I didn't do well, but I made enough. And then after that, like I was relatively successful after that. So like
Wow.
it just kind of grew on itself and like snowballed. But that's
Nice.
kind of
Really
how I
cool.
got to this point.
Yeah, I love that. One of the
Yeah.
questions I had was walk us through the steps of how you got to where you are, which you just kind of handled the back end of it.
Yeah.
But tell us, how did you start fishing just in general, even as a kid, like even if it wasn't bass fishing, but how did you get started in just fishing? What got you hooked?
Yeah, fishing for me was growing up as a little kid was going up to the cabin. We'd rent a cabin somewhere. Dad had a 14-foot V hull with like a 15-foot Johnson, and
That's awesome.
you go fish, jig for walleyes at night and fish for whatever, but go trolling, catch pike. Like that was kind of my childhood. My old man's an attorney, and when I was maybe 10 or so, he ended up having a client who was a professional bass angler or fished a lot of tournaments.
Okay.
And so one thing led to another, and they ended up becoming tournament partners, and they would fish some tournaments together. So that's how I was sort of introduced to tournament fishing. Like
Okay.
I
So
wasn't,
interesting.
Nice.
I wasn't, so yeah, it's not like I'm a multi-generational like tournament angler. Like a lot of these guys, it kind of showed up for both me and my dad when I was really young. And he, in his own right, he's in his mid 70s now and doesn't do a ton of fishing anymore, but he was kind of a hammer if you ask the local guys around here.
Okay.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's
So-
cool. Have you fished derbies with your dad? Like, do people fear you? You guys show up at the ramp and they're like, crap, it's old and young Felix.
Yeah, like the Denny's tournament, I would always fish with my dad. It's kind of
Awesome.
funny
That's so
because
sweet.
so like me and Seth and most of the guys, Andy Young, freaking like all the big names would fish those Denny's, but we were all friends. But when it came to like Denny's, you had to be like extra secretive because it was so competitive and like anything you kind of figured out. So like you didn't really fish with each other. Like, so whenever I was close to home, like my old man is always my team partner for that one.
That's cool.
That's really
Just like-
special.
We got, I fish with the other guys, like if we go out of town or like have a random tournament or like a different circuit or we're traveling around the cities, that's what we do. But
You save that one for your dad.
Yeah, so
love
I
it.
don't know, Austin. I don't know what your thoughts are in life or, kind of who you or what you believe. But dude, from what you're saying, it sounds like you're supposed to be fishing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the fact that like the way that it worked for just some random client to be into bass fishing, like that's kind of a crazy deal for the sort of genesis of it. And then you going to college, going away from college, then going back into college, because it sounds like if you hadn't have fished collegiately, you probably wouldn't have ended up going pro, it sounds like, because your brain was so locked on, I don't have time to fish all these lakes like I fish on Minnetonka and whatever. Dude, it sounds like you were really supposed to be fishing. Like the way things have worked out for you, like that's pretty cool, dude.
yeah, in hindsight, and the longer I'm here, like I feel like that's kind of the way it is. The more and more I realize, like my backup plan was honestly when I graduated, it was like, I'm going to go try to fish the FLW or I'm going to go to law school. And like, now I don't really, I'm glad I chose the one I did. I don't know how I'd sit behind a desk all the time. Like it would kill me.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a cool story, dude.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Yeah. So speaking of cool stories, do you have like a most memorable win that, something one of your most memorable wins you've ever had?
Most memorable wins. I don't know. Like probably my favorite win was a long time ago with my old man. Like we fished a circuit called the Extreme Bass Circuit, and this is back in 2006. The only reason I remember is because the plaque's still over here, but we ended up winning a bass boat for the championship.
Dang.
Oh my gosh.
And that was like first real big win, and I got to share that with my dad. It was a 2-day tournament, and we were leading after the first day, and then like didn't catch them quite good enough the second day, so like thought we lost, but I did the math wrong in my head. And so like when they called the winning name, it was like a legitimate shock. So
Oh, that's so
That's dope.
exciting.
yeah. And I think I was like 21 when that happened. So
I don't know how y'all are feeling, Nate and Lola, but the more Austin talks, like the more I like him. Like you're a very authentic human being, which is sadly rare. And the fact that you're sitting, I think it's your left shoulder, over your left shoulder is a blue trophy that comes with a 6-figure paycheck. We ask you what your most memorable win is, and you tell us about a derby with your dad.
Like my heart. I love that.
Freaking love that, dude. That's so cool.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, without a doubt. So what's something that's kind of surprised you? You know, you've been in the fishing industry for a while now, a few years on FLW, a good few handful now with bass. What's something about the fishing industry that's kind of surprised you, or maybe something you weren't quite expecting to kind of go the way it's gone?
I mean, honestly, probably once you're in this circle, how small it actually is. Like, I feel like everybody knows everybody. Like, I feel like if I need to get somebody's phone number, whether it's somebody who works for somebody or even an angler, like, it's not like I have to call somebody, you call somebody to get it there. Like, I can make one phone call and probably
that's nice.
Either get their contact or like get a hold of them. And it's a lot smaller, a lot more of a niche group, which is really awesome as far as
that's cool.
Being around people. It makes it more difficult to grow at the same time. There's a finite amount of money in the industry, whether it's sponsorship dollars or winning money and stuff like that. So you got to compete for it against the same guys that you're trying to be friends with. So it's kind of a balancing act that way. But like I said before, like I wouldn't change it for anything at this point.
That's cool.
That's
that's
really
a good answer. We talked about this briefly in the intro. Tell us a little bit about, I'm not trying to get you to do like some big sponsor plug, but tell us a little bit about Aris rods, because I don't know a ton about them. And every time I've seen one, I've always been kind of intrigued by the design, the shape, the actions, the colors. I feel like some of the stuff they've been doing with like their grips for a little while now, like you're seeing other like big brands, not that Aris isn't, but like bigger brands starting to do something sort of similar. How'd you get put on with them? I don't know. Give me the juice, man. They're kind of cool looking.
Yeah, I got with Aris. This will be my 4th year.
Okay.
I think 4th or 5th. No, I think it's my 4th. But yeah, they're an Italian company.
Okay.
But their deal is like high-end rods, really high quality, like lightweight, sensitive, like kind of cutting edge stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're designed in Italy, which like if you think of like anything else, what do you think about Italy makes the best guns, they make the best cars. And so like they're actually built in Japan. So then the quality of Japanese components. Like we were talking about Megabass earlier. But they're really big in Europe to like for like the multi-species deal. We're still trying to get the name recognition. Like before I was with Aris, I basically fished nothing but like Daiwa and Jew Loomis rods because like I'm used to fishing the best stuff, and I try to tell everybody like if you want something different that's just as good, then just try the Aris rods. And their new Mercurial line like has all the latest technology that they put into all their other rods. Like they're super badass. Like I couldn't be happier with them. And I think they're only like $250 now, like around there. So that you're not spending the $700 for a NRX Plus or
That's crazy.
The problem is getting them sold in America right now. Like you can get them at Tackle Warehouse.
Okay.
Or you can get them on their website.
Yeah. And the Mercurial, those are they're red, right? Isn't that the lineup?
Yeah, they're red and chrome and
their rods look crazy. They look really unique.
Yeah, they're slick.
Yeah.
Like I legitimately, they have something that I like for just about everything. Like I have complete confidence in them at this point, which is really good because I mean, I've been with other groups before and you'd always have to have like a few other rods that are just like,
sure.
Yeah, they don't have something for this kind of deal, but like,
yeah,
the main thing now is just getting them in more people's hands so they realize like how cool they are and how good they are.
I want to try one.
Yeah, they're really neat. Yeah, if you look them up, like they're really cool. Look, I think the first one is. Did I say that wrong in the intro? Is it Stargate? Isn't that one of their? Isn't that one of their series?
Yeah. They make the Ultra, which is like their entry level. It's still a really good rod, and then they make the Stargate, which is the one that has the like hard fiberglass.
Yeah, that kind of
hard carbon fiber cone sort of foregrip.
Yeah.
That they made essentially like supposed to magnify like vibration so you can
touch,
feel everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really badass too. They're, I think, what are they, like $300 or something?
Yeah, they look so. I've always thought they were cool. Like I always thought they were neat. There's a dude on YouTube. I can't remember his name. Marling Bates. I don't know if you've ever seen that dude's YouTube. He
Didn't
makes
know
like
how long you're gonna do that.
He makes like handmade. He basically like he's a kind of like he's kind of, you know, I think people would label him kind of like dorky, but he's a cool dude. He takes like random pictures of like fish and then he carves these incredibly intricate like swim baits and whatever and hand paints them and like documents the whole process. And then he sells them on his website for like $1,000. Like they're nonsense expensive. They're always sold. But I saw him use this rod a couple times and just the shape of like the butt and like you were saying the foregrip. I'm like, dude, what the heck is that thing? I literally was like watching through his videos to try and find a frame that I could pause to see the label because it really is that unique looking. Wow. And then I saw that it was Eris. So then when I saw that you were on that, I was like, dude, I want to ask him about that because they're just really, I love it when companies don't do what everybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Eris is definitely that type of company, at least in design. And so, yeah, I was stoked to ask you.
Do you have a favorite of the Eris rods? Like, you didn't tell us yet, right?
No. Well, I mean, the Mercurial is what he said is like the new jam. That's like the
I didn't know if
black
that was
and
a
red
favorite.
and chrome, but yeah.
I mean, those are my favorite at this point. Like,
yeah,
I got a bunch of new ones that just showed up the other day just to kind of like pad my collection.
That's kind of exciting,
that
right?
Is exciting. Does that ever get old? That can't get old,
right?
No, it doesn't. But it's like every year, kind of based on where you're going and like what the new hot techniques are. Like I have to kind of adjust my lineup, and
sure,
you'll end up fishing as much as we do. We break a rod here and there, and need to have extras. So I mean, I carry 70, 80 rods with me.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
But
smart.
I mean, you have to, when you go from Florida to a spotted bass fishery, something like that, and you're not going to fish the same stuff. You got to be able to move or get different things. But
yeah,
like the Mercurial line is really badass, especially for under $300, like $250. It's as good as you're going to find. And as far as like specific rods, it really depends on what technique. Like if you had a specific technique, I could tell you which rod I like for it, but they got something good for.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really good. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to take a side note into your sponsorship lineup. I just, like I said, I sort of had this like thing with that rod company. So, yeah.
Yeah. So we don't typically ask all of our guests this, although I feel like we definitely should more. But I know you don't currently have one because you mentioned your accident. But can you give us a rundown of your 2023 boat that you had? Kind of how it was laid out, which had on it, all that good stuff.
I mean, I could do that, or like my new boat showed up last week, so like it's not fully rigged, but I can give you a rundown of how it's going to be rigged or what.
Yeah, tell us. Heck yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hear.
So I'm running the new Phoenix 921 XE. It's new this year. It's basically if you take the Phoenix 921 Elite, so it's got like the added fiberglass, and you put that on top of a PHX hull. Plus they got rid of a lot of the like plastic cowlings and stuff and made everything fiberglass. So it's going to be their new top of the line boat. It looks pretty slick. I'm excited to try it out. I haven't got to run one yet, but talking to like the rep around here, he says it's going to be the deal. So I run that with a Mercury. This year's electronics are going to go a little wild. I actually stepped away from Lowrance. I've been with Lowrance forever, but I stepped away because I had an opportunity. My friend Trent Palmer runs Sonar Pros, which is they rig boats and they make designated wiring harnesses and like a bunch of different stuff for your boat, like sea deck stuff. So I'm gonna go straight through him this year. We're gonna do some more stuff. So I'm gonna run multiple brands. I'm actually gonna run on the bow. I'm gonna run a 16 Lowrance and a 16 Garmin and a 12 Garmin.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
And then on the dash, I'm gonna run 2 12 Lowrances and a 9 Humminbird.
Wow, you're going 3 on the dash too.
Yeah. So
I've
always been
Minnesota. Are you allowed to not have 360 on the front? Is that even like legal in Minnesota?
I've never owned a 360.
You've never had one?
No.
Wow.
See, I've been with Lowrance.
Oh, well, duh,
I got with them like when I won the college national championship.
Yeah.
And, like, I've always been with them and like never felt like I needed to switch. And
I love that.
But this year
you're missing out.
Did you ever try like the 360 nose cone or anything that they introduced for the Ghost?
Oh yeah, I've tried all that stuff and it wasn't the deal.
Right.
Okay.
Did you say something about an accident? What happened? There was an accident?
Oh,
what happened to your other boat?
We haven't talked about that yet,
Oh
but it's kind of part of the. Well, hold on. Let him keep going. Let him keep going.
Sorry.
Because I have a question for you too, Austin. So if you are stepping away from Lowrance, are you still going to run the Ghost, or are you going to run something different on a trolling motor?
I'm running a power pole move this year.
Oh,
trolling motor. That new power pole trolling motor.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm going to need a ton of power for that. So like my battery setup's going to be pretty wild.
Okay.
But like that's what Trent's whole deal is. So I'm actually running 3 36 volt 60 amp hour trolling motor batteries. So I'm going to have like two running parallel and then one on a third one on a Perco switch just for an emergency in case something happens and you need to flip it. So I'll have like 180 amp hours of trolling motor battery, and then I'll have
holy crap,
2 135 amp hour 12 volts running just electronics that are Dakota lithiums too.
Jeez.
And then I'm gonna run just 31 AGM strictly for cranking and like pumps and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because like the jury's still out on whether lithium's really good for a crank battery.
Yep.
And it's kind of scary to know like it's either there or it's not. Like you don't run it down, it's either on or off. So like you're either dead in the water, and if you're dead in the water you can't jump it, that kind of stuff. So it's important to have as many redundancies out there as we can to make sure we can like get things going. So
you were saying like, oh my gosh, wow, about like the battery stuff. Like what's quote unquote normal? Like that sounds like a lot, right?
Yeah. So that's 6 graphs and 6 batteries, correct?
Yep.
Okay. I wanted to get that. So you can give us the rundown on what, Jordan, what's typical, would you say?
Well, I mean, so I think nowadays, right? Like it depends on what style of battery you're running. So obviously if you're running all lead acids or lithium stuff, whatever. And so like the lithium stuff is obviously for like an angler like me, an angler like Nate, it's beneficial, but it's also insanely expensive. And so the setup that Austin is running, I don't know that there's much of an argument to be made that that's a ridiculously like bad to the bone setup. But I think for maybe the average angler, just financially, like that's an investment and a half.
Okay.
And
like
I think
worth it.
There's a super strong argument to be made that it's totally worth it. But again, like Austin was saying, he's bringing 80 rods with him when he hits the road. Like, I have 40 or so, 45 combos, like it's just the next level of whatever. Like if I had, the moolah to drop on batteries like that, for sure, dude. And again, this is his livelihood. This is like a chef having like the highest end, like the highest end kitchen knives versus me having knives that, they're good and they're fine, they'll work, but they're not this set of knives. Well, I don't really need that set because I'm not on that level yet.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Have you noticed a performance difference, like even just how your rig handles, how it runs? I mean, with lithiums in general.
Phoenix in general with lithiums, actually, lithiums will slow them down because they don't get the bow lift. Like you actually want weight in the back of your boat. That's why I really don't care if I'm adding more weight by more batteries, as long as I'm getting like more redundancies and stuff like that. As far as electronics goes, like I promise I have the best picture, whether it's forward facing or like side scan picture on the planet, like the way that the guys get it set up, like, and it's been that way for a few years. It's just, you need to be able to have full power sunrise to sunset every day. And first of all, lead acid isn't going to do that. Like lead acid drains down slowly. So you notice like on a trolling motor, if you have lead acid, by the time it's noon, you've got the thing on 100 just to get the same sort of performance you had on it when it was on like 60. So you got to be able to have, with lithium, you have full power. You have 100% power from the start until it dies. It's either just on and off or it's full power. So being able to, and then just being able to run for 14 hours, like lead acid batteries, most places aren't going to last long enough. Like they're going to die before your day ends for practice or whatever. So
you mentioned running the power pole trolling motor. I'm gonna assume you're gonna have power poles on the boat as well. Is that battery setup, is that something that would work with like the power pole charge or anything like that? Would that work with that kind of power?
Yeah, so the power pole charge, I'm gonna run a power pole charge, run 2 blades. The power pole charge is a 4-bank charger. So essentially I'm going to be running, it's essentially set up to charge your trolling motor batteries and your crank batteries. So I'll have it hooked up to the 2 parallel trolling motor batteries. And then I'll have it hooked up to the AGM crank battery. The 3rd trolling motor battery on the Perco is just going to be charged and left alone, and it won't even be touched. Like, unless something happens, then I got to flip the switch. As far as my standalone electronics batteries, I'm not sure how Trent's planning on wiring that. I know he's got like, we can either do a single bank charger and put it in there, or like Dakota Lithium makes an external charger that I just hook up at the end of the night when I hook up the power pole.
So you're set.
Yeah. So whenever the 2025 season comes around, you give us a text before you get rid of that rig, because that thing sounds like it's about to be filthy.
Seriously.
Goodness gracious. Have you used that move yet? Because like I remember when Power Pole was coming out with the trolling motor, and then they pushed it off, and then they were coming out with the trolling motor and they pushed it off, and then they were coming out with the trolling motor and they pushed it out, whatever. And then they finally dropped it. I remember when I first saw it, I'll be totally honest, I was like, oh, come on, dude. That looks like a motor guide. Like it's got like a chrome shaft and it's, whatever. Like, and then I started like reading about it. I started watching videos on it. And now I'm like really impressed by, I love how the head is like, the size of a baseball on the top, how powerful it is, how quiet it is. Like I watched a video where one dude, it was like just some random dude was like, hey, listen to this. And he like took his phone and put it right by, you couldn't even hear it. Like it was so quiet. Dude's chopping through stuff and all you could hear was that was hitting stuff. There was no like, there was no whir noise. Have you used it yet? Are you stoked on it?
I've played with it a little bit in a few buddies' boats, but I haven't owned one yet.
Right.
So I haven't got to put it through its paces. Brian New, who I travel with, he has one on his boat this year, and he's already rigged, and he's been fishing the last few weeks, like striper fishing and stuff with it, and he's pretty happy with it. It's got like every trolling motor is a little bit different, and they're going to take getting used to. The pedal feels different, and all that stuff.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. Like it's pretty badass from everything I've heard.
Yeah, it sounds really like it's like just what I've read, heard, watched videos, whatever. It seems really well thought out, and I actually respect the fact that PowerPole didn't rush it to market if it wasn't ready. You know, because there was so much hype building up to it. They could have just been like, here it is, even though it wasn't ready. Yeah, and they like took their time and put out the right product. So I actually really respect that.
Yeah, people see that metal shaft and they do think motor guide. Well, the funny thing is, like, that shaft is literally made out of titanium. So,
wow.
So it's like lightweight, and how much more expensive is titanium?
Right. Yeah. If you ask my iPhone, it's quite a bit more. Yeah, it's quite a bit more expensive. Yeah.
Can I ask about the accident now?
Oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So what happened? I don't know any of this.
Oh, so I was on the way from here to a tournament on St. Clair in July, and I got rear-ended going around Chicago by a city bus.
Oh my gosh.
And obviously it was a fiasco after that. Like, totaled the boat, banged up the truck, pushed the boat into the truck. So like, I ended up calling Steve Mentz, who's the Wisconsin, Minnesota Phoenix rep. Basically, it was 6 o'clock at night on a Saturday. So he got right on the horn with Phoenix. I called my parents, who started driving with the other truck we have. And by the time I got a tow truck, and Steve had already told me where to take the boat that was totaled. We took it to a dealer that was about 60 miles south of Chicago, and Sunday morning they pulled a Phoenix boat off the line at the factory.
Oh my gosh.
And Andy, who's our service tech for the Elite Series for Phoenix, towed it from Tennessee, from the factory, to south of Chicago where I was, and we essentially backed it up right next to my total boat and tore all the electronics and everything, ran all the wires, and essentially rigged my boat on Sunday in about 8 hours. And I left there at like midnight on Sunday and got in middle of the night, like early morning on Monday to St. Clair. I ended up having to sleep in a little bit, and I didn't miss a single day of practice.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have a couple questions. Were you okay? And did like rods and stuff, like if the boat is totaled, was stuff in there? Do you have that in there? Did stuff get broken? Like,
no, all my equipment was fine.
Okay.
I got rear-ended, but I was at a stop and he was coming in too fast and the roads were kind of wet. I saw him coming, so like I tried to get to the shoulder and like give him more room, and he got me as I was moving forward. So like my girlfriend was in the car with, nobody got hurt. The bus was full of Amish people.
Why is that so funny to me? I wasn't expecting that.
What in the world?
Yeah, so like I poked my head after the cops were there, and we were all doing like filling out reports and whatnot. Poked my head into the bus just to see if everybody was there. Yeah. And just like beards and hats.
Jedediah was like, "Hey."
Hello.
Yeah, and they were asking me what I was doing, but like it knocked the motor clean off of the boat. And stuff,
my gosh.
So that
is so crazy.
But everyone was okay. I mean, the boat wasn't, but dang. You
got
all set up.
So that totaled it, like I get that it like, you know, broke the motor off and probably completely crushed your transom and whatever, but that's enough to, I mean, did it kind of like accordion it, or how did it actually
like if it
total
went
the whole thing?
into
Did it just wreck the hull too and everything, or what?
I mean, it banged up the truck. The problem is like they pretty much, when the motor was totaled, that's like half the cost right there. So if there's going to be a bunch of fiberglass work as well, it's probably just going to be totaled. Plus, there's no real way of knowing the structural damage it did to like the internal part without taking the boat apart,
right?
Like taking the top cap off.
Yeah.
Plus, I assume it was just like the bus driver straight up told the cops that it was his fault. So I'm sure the insurance was like, yeah, we're going to get our money back on this one, because it's like it's a big company. It's not some random person. So
yeah.
Do you think the transition into a new boat, this is me being a little biased, also having a Phoenix, but do you think the transition into like the new boat would have gone as smooth with another company? And I'm just curious, like because that's like crazy stand-up-ish that they like took a boat off the line, had somebody haul it right to you, drop it off. Like
that's wild.
Like, I mean,
I'm not the first one they've done that to. Like,
yeah, for sure. And that's the thing, is like I hear horror stories about some other companies and stuff like that, but like, I've heard nothing but like really good things about Phoenix and their customer service, and you know, even the small things that I've had to deal with. Like, I've got a 2016, my boat's old, but like if I want a replacement part, I call them, they send it to me, and then they send me a bill. Like, it's been like crazy easy. So
yeah, their customer service is second to none, especially with their pro staff. Like, I feel like St. Clair is cursed. Like, this isn't the only time this happened. Like, I know Alton Jones Sr., I don't know if you guys saw, he got in that
was a bad accident. Yeah,
that was on the way home from St. Clair.
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
So Brad Watley 2 years ago, he runs a Phoenix. He got sideswiped and his boat flipped. Like, his boat and truck flipped.
Oh my gosh.
And Phoenix got him a brand new boat. He like the next day as well, like had one for him in a day or two. But that was at St. Clair. It's just like, you see St. Clair,
isn't it?
Yeah, you see St. Clair on the schedule, just like, watch out.
Yeah,
right. I got a Phoenix, and it's on the Northern Opens, you know, schedule.
I remember the first year I went to St. Clair for FLW. The first year I went to St. Clair with FLW, a guy got his truck and boat stolen at night from one of the hotels, and like they stripped his boat and his truck, and like they found his boat without the motor and stuff, like by the end of the
my gosh.
Yeah, like chop shop sort of thing.
Chop shop for bass boats. Wow.
Yeah, so, like, this is all in St. Clair, and like I can't think of this happening anywhere else.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's not happening on Mille Lacs.
Wow.
Yeah. Jeez, dude.
That's craziness.
Yeah, you better watch out for that. Can I ask you a random side question here?
Yeah.
Is there a dorkier professional athlete than Kirk Cousins?
Probably not. Like, and he was real bad.
Yeah.
I feel like Netflix kind of made him a lot cooler and like a lot more endearing to people now.
Yeah.
Like, he was like almost like to the point of like people were just making fun of him, and like he wasn't the guy. And then everybody realized like, oh, he's a giant dork, but he's like very genuine, and like
he's himself. Yeah.
Like, now everybody kind of likes him for it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I figured you got to be a Vikings fan, and like, you know, we're all three of us are Packer fans, and I don't want to like Kirk Cousins, and every time I hear him talk, he's just so authentically like to the detriment of his own image. He's so authentically himself, and I'm like, dude, I actually like that. Like the goofy dancing thing he did, or when he put on that chain, and he just looked like a 75-year-old dad, even though he's like 30. Yeah. You know, like I can't help but sort of like the dude. Yeah, Kirk Thuggins. Yeah,
that cracked me up. That was really funny.
Yeah, sorry, that was totally random, but yeah.
And him going down this year too, and watching 3 different quarterbacks just struggle, just really makes you realize like how good he really is. Like, I hope they keep him around.
That's exactly. I was literally just talking to my dad about that like 2 days ago, a day ago, something. I was like, man, all the experiments they've had at quarterback, if that doesn't prove to you that Kirk Cousins is actually the dude, you know, I don't know what will, because yeah, I mean, it makes him look better by the minute for sure. Yeah. All right. Let's keep it moving. One last one. I read somewhere that you hate Grand Lake. How you feeling about the Classic?
Happy to be here.
What'd you say?
I said just happy to be here.
Yeah. Why don't you like Grand Lake? What is it? You just haven't done well there? I mean, at least you're not getting hit by buses on the way there.
Don't curse.
We'll see.
Don't say that. Oh my gosh.
At least I have excuse then. So I fished one tournament on FLW, and it was on Grand Lake, and it was FLW tour event. I think it was 2019, something like that. And it was legitimately the only tournament I've ever double zeroed in. Wow. I did not catch a bass in that tournament. And it was brutal difficult, but I mean, I was still getting a few bites in practice, enough that I was like, I'm going to be all right, just because everybody was singing the blues, and it was just brutal tough. But yeah, went 2 full days, never put a bass in the boat.
Wow, dude, that's rough,
that's so
man.
hard.
Now I feel bad for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I don't know if do you guys know Adam Bartuszek?
I know who that is. Yeah, for sure.
Crappie Chronicle stuff. And
yeah. Because he did that stuff with Matt Pangrack, right?
Yeah, he does that too. So like he fished a Toyota down there on Grand, and I'm pretty sure that's the only he ended up double zeroing like last year on it too. So like we have that in common. Like it's like really honestly the only lake where I feel like I'd go there and like it's a definite possibility.
Yeah.
Dang. Well, maybe you'll go in this year with that mindset, and it'll just flip, and
it'll be wonderful.
Maybe Christy will double zero.
Hey, I mean, that's the thing. The other thing is I've never been there since forward-facing sonar, and I feel like I'm pretty good at that now. So hopefully that'll change some stuff and fish different than you used to.
Yeah, different ball game for sure.
Cold, shallow, dirty water is definitely probably my weakest game.
Okay.
Or it used to be. So it changed now that you can see what's going on down there. You can have a little more confidence.
Yeah. I mean, if you need to, you can come hang out with me and Nate on the Mississippi, because that's kind of our MO is cold chocolate milk up shallow on rocks and stuff. So we can walk you through some stuff.
I mean, see, if you add current to it, it's a whole different thing though.
That's
like,
true.
You can figure it out.
That does make them way more predictable.
But
yeah, absolutely. All right, Lola, let's do this.
Harry Potter time. I was gonna do the
what?
I'm just sorry.
So is it true? Is that a real thing about you? You listen to Harry Potter books like when you're traveling from spot to spot?
Yeah, I did a lot. I guess that would probably be like my one kind of superstition is I always listen. I have like a book on audiobook that I'll always listen to on the way to the boat ramp in the morning. Okay. Yeah. I still listen to like when I'm driving around a lot of times, although I watch more YouTube and stuff now, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet you I've listened through the whole series of audiobooks at least like 15 times, probably.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. That's dope, dude.
But
yeah, we are Harry Potter fans. Nate, you can just take a break if you want. Our oldest daughter, Kennedy, she just turned 14, which is crazy. Yeah. And I had been trying to get her into Harry Potter for years, and she was like, "Oh, that's like nerd stuff."
And Dominic, our oldest son, he loves it.
He likes it.
He just thinks it's great.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Come on, Ken, watch it with me." She's like, "No, it's lame."
And she finally did, and now she's like obsessed. Like she's like super into it, has seen all of them like 2 or 3 times. She's going to London in June of of 24. She's going to like Harry Potter World. She's going to some of the places they filmed and stuff. So like we love it. We love it. But let me hit you with this first question. This is nerdy, but I like it. Was Dumbledore a hero or a villain, Austin?
He's absolutely a hero.
Thank you.
My hero.
I love him.
So the idea is, right? Like I looked, I mean, I just Googled like Harry Potter questions. That one came up, and I'm like, well, that's stupid. And then I thought about it though. But then I thought about it though. He's constantly putting Harry sort of in harm's way. So is he doing that and like that's life, and he's trying to like disciple him and coach him along, or is he doing it to like get to the end that he needs to get to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Is that a dumb question, Austin?
No, I think like I understand where you're going from. That's a pretty deep question when it comes to Harry Potter questions. Like,
Seriously.
at the same time, I don't feel like there was anybody harder on himself than Dumbledore was.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, would you say is Snape a hero or a villain?
Yeah, for sure. That one's a little more easily like
Is
a
it?
norm, like, well, not easily, but I mean, like,
No,
that
one's
question
trickier.
makes a ton of sense. Like that, if somebody asks you that question, it's like, oh, sure, that's a good one. But you
both.
ask hero or villain about Dumbledore, and you're like, wait, what?
Like, he's the best.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, in the movies, outside the books, which Dumbledore is better? The one who's like, hello, Harry, or the one who's like, hello, Harry? Which one do you like better?
I mean, how many did they go through?
I think just two.
Just
I think it was the dude who was the old man in the Count of Monte Cristo
and then Gambon,
movie. And then yeah, the dude with like the voice.
It wasn't that bad.
It was pretty nasally. He was still dope. They were both awesome. Yeah, it wasn't.
I would say the later ones, just because in general. So I'm a way bigger fan of like the books and the movies. I love that. It drove me crazy how much stuff they leaked out, and I don't know if you
had to, right? Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard about this new, like, HBO is coming out or is going to come out with a series, and it's going to be like one season per book, supposedly.
Oh, snap. Okay.
So like they'll be able to, I'm hoping that they are able to like dive more into it and make it more like adult, because that was like the thing. The first book or two is like so childish and kiddie,
right?
And I understand but like as it progresses, it becomes more like gritty, more adult and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So like that's how I felt about the movies. But
yeah, that's dope.
What would you say was the saddest death?
Dobby.
Of the whole like
Dobby.
Oh, dude, that is a rough dude. Kennedy,
you don't like him.
I mean, I do, but I don't. I mean, I feel like in the books he's probably far more likable.
I think he's probably so cute.
Yeah.
And he's so sweet. He's funny.
Yeah.
He's the most genuine character in there. Like,
I think I actually cried when he's like holding him on the beach. Oh.
Completely unpretentious and not fake. And I'll agree with you there.
Yeah, and like in the books where they have Harry like goes out and digs his grave by hand, and like his hands start bleeding and stuff in the rain, and he says he doesn't feel right using magic to
bury him.
Like it's brutal.
It is.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I cry now.
I do actually remember that scene. So
well, you've seen him, Nate? I didn't think you'd even seen him.
Yeah, I've seen a handful of them. I struggle to watch them all the way through most of the time, but no, I do. I have seen them. Like your daughter, mine is a pretty big fan of Harry Potter for some reason.
That girl, Madison.
Yeah, she's got the Hogwarts shirts and coffee mug and whatnot. Yeah. So
okay, yeah, that's dope for sure. If you could fish a team tournament with any Harry Potter character, who would it be besides Dumbledore? Because I feel like that's where you're gonna go right away, which is fine. But
so I would do Hermione Granger when she has the time turner.
Okay. Oh, that's good. This dude's smart, dude. This dude's smart as crap, dude. I like that.
That was smart.
That was maybe the best answer of anything you said so far.
That was good.
Yeah, that was really good. All right, let's end on some fishing questions. We'll hold you up for a little bit more, Austin, then we'll let you get out of here. We super appreciate you taking the time to hang out with us tonight for sure, man. It means a lot to us. Let me kick it off with give a piece of advice, and it can be like something deep. It can be like practice your casting, whatever you want. Give some advice to anybody who's looking to like step it up. Nate apparently is pointing at himself. Give some advice to Nate. For anybody who's trying to take the next step, whatever that looks like. So that could be getting into tournaments. That could be trying to go from a tournament guy to the guy that people are like scared when he shows up to the ramp. That could be the dude trying to make it pro. Give some advice to somebody who wants to go to the next step of bass fishing tournaments.
Shoot. I mean, it's hard to like give advice for all those different levels. I'd say most of the time, like if I'm talking to high schoolers or younger kids, it's more when I get that sort of question. So what I usually tell them is figure out what you like and what you don't like as far as bass fishing, what you're good at and what you're not. And so if you like to frog fish, but you hate fishing deep, and figure out who on your team or who around you loves doing whatever it is you hate, and fish with them, or fish with somebody who has confidence doing what you don't like to do. Because once you gain confidence, I'm sure your idea of it will change. And if you want to do it, if you want to fish professionally at some level, you're going to need to be able to be well-rounded enough to do everything. Like you can't go out and say, oh, I hate throwing a jig while you're throwing a jig, because if you don't have the confidence in it, you'll be reeling it in before it hits the bottom, make another cast.
That's exactly right.
So like the main thing is
like my frog fishing.
Yeah. I mean, if you fish the river that much, though, you should love frog fishing. That's like the only time I throw it. But it's like, just figure out what you're good at, recognize what you're not good at, and figure out who you know that either likes doing that or just is really good at it, and try to fish with those individuals. And that gets harder and harder the older and more advanced you get. But like kids in high school and stuff like that, like it's still really easy just to.
I think that's great advice.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What about the Classic? Do you have any predictions? Who's going to win it? How do you feel?
I mean, Christie's got to be number one with a bullet, doesn't he?
Has to be by a long ways. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Beyond that, it's Christie and everybody else. Like as far as my predictions, like goal number one is to catch a bass, like legitimately. It's just I'm not going to pre-practice because I haven't had a boat. Like I know a bunch of my buddies have gone out there and graphed and pre-practice and stuff, but I didn't have a boat since July, so like I wasn't able to do anything. And
wait, what's pre-practice? Like I know what that means, but I'm just saying,
like practice window for the elites, but then far enough out you can
go on a scouting trip.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So, like I got some buddies that have done that, but since I got in that wreck, I haven't had a boat since. So I haven't been able to do any of that, and my current boat won't be rigged until February. So,
okay. Well, honestly, though, man, not to come off as like fake Tony Robbins here, like motivational speaker, but like it feels to me like your life has pointed you towards fishing through some sort of weird extenuating circumstances. Who knows, man? Maybe running into this one, like not having a boat until February and not being able to go out and just spend days side imaging and marking, and you might come out there and just blow their socks off, dude. And I really hope you do.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think there's always like one tournament a season that I'm not very excited about going into. Like last year, I did really well on Sabine River, and that's the one I was scared of the most. And like 2 years ago, I top 10 St. John's and you never like really think going to Florida is going to be your deal unless you live there or something. So like you don't know until you get there, kind of see the conditions, see what's active, and if you can stumble onto something, like it can change in a hurry, and all of a sudden you can get that feeling. Like I still feel like given the right opportunity, and if I can figure something out, I have the ability to win the tournament. But
yeah, you definitely do. Yeah,
we believe in you.
Yeah, we believe in you. Good luck, dude. Like truly, actually, all three of us. Good luck, man. Go kill it. And like you said, especially with the evil, dreaded Slytherin forward-facing sonar. Like, I don't really think that about it. I have no beef with forward-facing sonar. I'm sick of hearing about the poop with it. But anyway, like you said, with forward-facing sonar, that really does change the game. You don't know that you might not run into a couple mega schools that, you just got lucky and found and you just kill it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it, man. I'll be cheering for you.
So what's one aspect of your game leading into the 2024 season that you'd say you want to work on the most, or improve on rather?
Just Florida in general probably would be like a good way of putting it. Like Florida fishing is really weird. Like, and everybody says, like, if you talk to anybody, it's such a crapshoot. Like,
yeah,
things change all the time. The fish are so stubborn and so weather oriented. Like, the tiniest cold front will shut them down, kind of deal. So it's really weird. We always go there every year, and you kind of hope you get out of it all right. Between that and the first 4 regular season events, Texas and Florida are going to be the trickiest ones for me. As far as like techniques and stuff, I play around with techniques a lot, so I feel pretty comfortable, but I'm always trying to learn new stuff. The last year or two, I really got into like the glide bait and the big bait deal.
Okay.
And I've gotten into like that forward fishing, like jig minnow sort of deal
Mm-hmm.
a lot more, just because that's kind of, you try to stay on the forefront of like what's new and what's there, and try to expand your knowledge and try to figure out new things people haven't figured out yet. Like, that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
What's your strong? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Nate.
No, well, I was just going to say, do you think kind of like the juggling of the elite schedule this coming year will help you at all in Florida? Because instead of starting right away in Florida, now you're going to start in Texas and then transition over to Florida. Well, do you think that'll help at all, or?
I don't know. I've never like, we fish Florida every year that I've fished professionally, but we've always started there, and it's always been February.
Yep.
So like, I haven't spent April in Florida before.
Oh.
So like, I don't really know. Like, I'm really good friends with like the McMillans and stuff, and like, I've talked to them throughout the years about fishing and kind of picked their brain about stuff, but it's like, it's tricky down there. So like, putting it into effect is totally different. So I won't know until we get there what it's like.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's awesome.
It will be.
It will for sure.
Yeah.
So you were talking about like glide baits and stuff. So what's your strongest technique?
I mean, my strongest technique, I just summarize it into like northern smallmouth, whether that's drop shot, Ned rig, tubes, freaking swim baits kind of deal, like that whole deal. Like the last 2 events of the year next year, like I fully expect to top 10 both of them. But,
wow. Okay. Do it.
But it's different because like I grew up doing that. I have an advantage over most of the field because most of the field don't fish for smallmouth nearly as much as we do. And those lakes don't change year to year. So like if I have good spots, if I have a juicy boulder over here that's always got a big one on it, like that boulder is not going to change like a grass line will in Florida.
Yeah.
Like,
I hadn't thought of that. Oh, that makes sense.
So like Lake Ontario is absolutely gigantic, but I show up there at the boat ramp and I already have 400 waypoints where I are like above average spots to start trying to figure out where the fish are or whatnot.
Yeah, that's dope. What do you think is your weakest point in your game?
Cold, dirty, shallow water.
Oh yeah, I guess you said that already. Again, I say unto you, cold. You could have just said grand, I guess. My weak point is grand. Yeah. Nate, what was the I think I stole your question, Nate, on what was something you wanted to improve this year. Let me ask you this. This is kind of a stupid one, but I think it's sort of funny. Austin, you always hear people on podcasts, on videos, say things to the effect of, and I think this might be sort of relevant right now, like with the Jacob Fouts video and some of the other things that are kind of happening in the industry, whatever. You always hear people say, like, I couldn't do this without my sponsors. Is that true? Like, is that a real thing? Or could you do this without your sponsors?
Yes and no.
Okay.
You can survive. So, like 4 years of FLW, I think I made a total of $7,000 in sponsorship money, and everything else, like I stayed at float via earned winnings.
Wow.
Even I wasn't even the first year I got all my entry fees paid was my second year of the Elite Series.
Okay.
So like you can do it, but it's very difficult. Like you have to be really consistent. And I'm talking about my last 3 years at FLW and my first 2 years on the Elite Series, I'd miss 2 checks a season.
Wow.
And other than that, I was making at least a $10,000 check per event and top 10s and stuff like that. So like if you can get up to around, well, FLW is only 6 or 7 events. So it's like, if you can get over 75 grand in winnings, or on the Elites, if you can get to that 80, 90 grand in winnings a year, you can keep your head afloat. But I mean, you're not going to support a family. You're not going to support a house payment and that kind of stuff on that. But if you're just traveling, living to fish, like Jacob Fouts 2 years into his career, just trying to keep his head above water, like it's gonna, like you can keep going. You can make it happen. And then hopefully you win one or you get your name out there. Like I didn't start making decent sponsorship dollars until after I won Oahe, to be honest with you.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that was going to be a question I was going to ask, is if that tournament kind of changed stuff for you or catapulted, you know, kind of your career. A lot of people always say, you know, it's a, you know, kind of a career changing thing. But
yeah, the year after Oahe was the first year where like I went into the season saying, if I don't cash a check, I shouldn't be in debt. If that makes any sense.
That's promising.
But that's year 7, I think.
Wow.
Of my professional career. So it doesn't come quick for most people.
Yeah.
Slow and steady.
Yeah, honestly. So like, let me ask you this then, Austin, like just to kind of follow up, you know, fishing professionally, it's not like the NFL or the NBA or whatever. Like y'all don't have agents. Like how do you guys learn to do these like business dealings in terms of like signing contracts with sponsors or sort of navigating through sponsorship changes, and what's, you know, fair cost for Austin Felix to endorse Eris rods versus Angler XYZ fishing for Daiwa? And like how do you figure this stuff out?
It's kind of trial and error, because I mean it's like anything else in your normal job. Like you're not supposed to tell somebody else how much you make an hour or what your salary is kind of deal. Like they don't want you talking to other anglers, and some people do, some people don't. But you kind of, it's somewhere. Most of my sponsorship have come from connections I've made, like just being in the industry, like being at weigh-ins, or just like knowing people who have introduced me to somebody. Like I've never gotten any sort of sponsorships by just sending out a resume and cold calling people, trying to figure that out.
Okay.
My Eris sponsorship actually showed up because they messaged me on Instagram.
Wow.
And I honestly thought it was kind of a joke, like, because you get a few of those from like Eddie's random Eddie's baits or something or other. Hey, you want to? And I'm like, I guess we could think about it. So I like basically like threw out a number. I was like, hey, I need this many rods and at least this much before you think about it. And they were like, we can discuss that. And I'm like, oh shit, I guess I better look into this a little bit more and realize that they were like this wasn't some like scam sort of deal. But most of 90% of sponsorships come via connections, somebody you know, or just like somebody you've met through the industry. That's really the only way I figured out how to do it. As far as how much you can get, a lot of it is, for me, it's like, how much can you afford kind of deal. Like I know what I want for a title deal and whatnot, but like I'll tell them that, and it's like, listen, that's not the deal breaker. We can move it down. Like tell me what you're comfortable with, and we can figure out what that's worth, and if we can come to an agreement.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you just said trial and error, which makes sense when you're trying to figure out like the leader length on a drop shot. you know, but you're talking trial and error on like your dang life, like your career, your income, your finances. I run a small little marketing firm, and I do video production and whatever. And I had a buddy online who did the same thing on a much larger scale. And he told me about, I'm not going to say the company because I'm probably not allowed to, but he told me about a video shoot he was doing for a car company, like a real, not like a local, like come on down to Bob's Used Autos, but like a real car, like a major car company. And he sat down like with their big wigs, and they flew him out and they pitched him their idea for him to direct. And they said, how much do you think? And he said, well, you know, you're thinking actors shutting down a street, this camera, that camera, blah, blah, blah. It's a pretty big budget. What did you guys have in mind? And he was thinking in his head, he was going to charge them $100,000 for this commercial. They came back. They're like, well, we were thinking somewhere in the $350,000 range. And he's like, oh yeah, I was thinking right around 300. Like, because, you know, he was smart enough to not like put it all out there. And I'm like, dude, I don't know that I would have the balls in a meeting like that to have like that conversation. And for you guys, this is your livelihood. Have you always had a good business sense, Austin, or is that just something you've picked up? I know you said trial and error, but I mean, having conversations with companies like Eris, is it just sort of, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so back in college, I actually designed my own major. It was basically entrepreneurship and sustainability, like at the University of Minnesota. So like I kind of got an idea, public speaking, marketing, all that kind of stuff through that, or at least a little bit. If I remember any of it, like I couldn't read a balance sheet anymore probably, but, but it's just, like I said, with the relationships you get at that point, most of the time you're talking with somebody you know, or a friend, or somebody who understands your worth beforehand. But it's also really fluid. Like it can be here today, gone tomorrow. Like one of my biggest sponsors last year, last year was the first year of a 3-year deal, 3-year contract we have, but all our contracts are like either party can leave at any time. That's the way they basically are all written, as long as you just give a little bit of notice. And because of business issues, they had to axe me after the end of the year. So that was just kind of, when you got a 3-year deal, a 3-year contract, and it's gone after 1, you're like, well, that's when you pick up the phone and start calling other people and see them if they want to increase their support, or if you find somebody new.
Wow. Yeah, these are really cool. These are cool insights, man. Yeah. I'm just always curious about that. Another quick follow-up to that. You got thick skin. Are you a naturally thick-skinned person? Does that kind of stuff, do you take that personally?
No, not really at all.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you can't. I just didn't know if like naturally it was like, ouch, or if you're like, okay, cool, and you just keep moving.
Yeah, it's one of those deals. Like once it happens, the same thing happens. Like if you're fishing a tournament and something happens on the boat, your boat goes dead, freaking. It's like we can either complain about it, or now that the problem happened, we just have to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Figure out what
solving
we can
the problem with a poopy attitude isn't going to be helpful.
Right. Just get to it and
tell them, Lola.
Shut up. So. I don't want to be the dude who spins out, but I do occasionally. And but thanks for all these answers, dude. Lola, give them that last one. I like this one a lot, and then we'll let you go. I promise. I just really enjoyed talking to you, man.
Who are some of your fishing heroes and why?
Oh, fishing heroes. Number 1 would probably be Aaron Martins.
Yes, dude.
I only got to meet him once or twice at like the Classic and stuff, but I felt like he was such a tinker, and he was always like trying to expand the knowledge of like bass fishing.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like staying in his lane.
Yes, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And So like that's kind of what I try to do when I'm back home. Like when I go up to Mille Lacs, like whether it's like some obscure Japanese technique or new baits or like new ways to wig things, like I'm always like tinkering, trying to find the next cool thing. But I feel like he was like the master of that.
Mm-hmm.
So like he'd be number one. Like everybody says Denny Brower, but Denny Brower from up here just like flipping a big jig and like grass and stuff.
Yeah.
And a few of them like Hackney's like the coolest guy on the planet. Like everybody's like expects him to be like grumpy and like super intimidating. Which like on the water he can be, but off the water he's like the coolest guy to hang out with, and like his accolades speak for himself and like the way he catches them.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like those for a few as far as fishermen people.
Yeah, that's really neat. Yeah, the Aaron Martins one, man. I never met him. I never knew him. I never anything, of course. And when I found out that he, you know, the tumors or whatever it was, the brain stuff came back, and then, you know, it was pretty quickly after that he passed. I teared up, you know, just because, like you said, number one, he was incredibly intelligent and analytical and never just took status quo. And he was just so authentic. Like he was just so friendly to people. And I read a story, I can't remember who it was about, what specific guy, but it was a dude who was like a photographer or a videographer who would like basically follow the bass elites around, like do videos. And he had like a GoFundMe to like fund himself doing that. And like he would talk to Aaron Martins, and Aaron would ask him how his GoFundMe was doing, and he'd be like, oh, you know, I just need whatever. And then Aaron would just drop in like $500 in his GoFundMe. And like he was just a giving human being. And so yeah, man, he was just the coolest guy ever. Just the coolest dude.
Yeah, and you think about like forward facing now, like what genius things would he have figured out with that?
Golly, yeah.
Just considering what he was able to do with just 2D, or just like like I heard stories about him figuring out how to rig his structure scan, his side scan, so he could run on plane with it still in the water and stuff, and like tinker with that kind of stuff. So it was just like
mad scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah. What derby was it? It was an MLF derby. Was it Table Rock or Lake of the Ozarks or something? I remember one year. Was it MLF? I can't remember. Anyway, it was where one of them got postponed or shut down, so they went back like 2 derbies in a row to the same lake. You guys remember that?
That was Table Rock. Wheeler.
It was Table Rock. Yeah, and he won that one where he's out drop shotting in like 40 feet of water with like 3.5 footers just like rolling up against the bow. And I mean, and everybody else is like tucked into coves. He's out there drop shotting with a smile from ear to ear, just one after the. I mean, he beat like the closest competitor by like 60 pounds, you know, because he's just one after the other. And gosh, he was just such a cool dude, man. And he had a cool style, like the purple and stuff. Like he was way ahead of his time with purple, because now it's starting to get kind of popular. Anyway, sorry. Nate, Lola, you got anything else for this dude before we let him close that shop?
I'm glad that I was able to join back in.
Yeah. Hopefully one day, man. I know schedules are rough and whatever, but with you only being like an hour and a half away, it would be awesome to have you come through sometime. We'll make you some killer tacos, maybe some venison tacos or something. And
go fishing.
We could have an in-person conversation. But thank you, Austin, for taking the time, man.
No problem. I appreciate it. It was really fun.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. So best of luck on the classic. Best of luck in 2024. I hope the new model elite, what do you call it? EX? Is that what it's called?
XE. Yeah.
XE. Yeah. I hope that thing comes together perfectly, man. It sounds like a heck of a rig. So thank you for joining us. You can go ahead and hang up, and we appreciate you so much, Austin.
Thank you so much.
Peace.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah. Here we go. All right. So that was Austin Felix, man. Dude is smart. Dude is authentic. Yeah. I think by
his little giggle.
Yeah, his laugh is so funny. It's so like contagious. Yeah. I think by far my favorite thing about him was, again, this is a dude in a trophy room with just racks and racks, stacks on stacks of trophies that Nate and I would give our left foot to have, and we say, "What's your most?" Was it you, Nate? I think it was you. What's your most memorable derby? And he says one with his dad.
Yeah.
What a freaking cool dude, man.
Love it.
That's awesome. I know in 2024 he'll definitely be a guy I'm rooting for. That was awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll be cheering, especially at Grand, you know?
Yeah.
Because there is something sort of like, obviously on some level, but not as obvious on another level, that's sort of psychological about fishing, you know, between the ears. Like, I was talking to a feller at work the other day, this old guy who's I think he was or is like a golf pro on some level.
Whoa.
And I was asking him like, why golf? Because he's like a pretty fit dude for being older or whatever. I'm like, you could probably be playing anything. Why golf? And he's like, I just like how psychological it is, because you're trying to do the exact same swing, turn your hips the same way, move your wrists over the same way, whatever. And I think in fishing, it's not that type of psychological, but I think it's like this going to a lake that maybe you've been beat up by, or fishing with a lure that you're not as comfortable with, or I don't know. I think there's certain elements of between your ears that really, really factor into fishing. And so for him going to Grand, I hope he just shows up and just shuts the freaking thing down, you know, just puts a hurting on him. I think that'd be so dope, because you know what's funny is like Christie is for sure the favorite to win. It's in his backyard, all that, but like things don't always pan out like that in your home derbies. Like they don't always go that way. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. A lot of, I mean, most of the time it doesn't, or, you know, the guy that kind of is expected to win, you know, kind of has a stumble towards the end or something like that. I mean, I can only think of, you know, 2 over the last, you know, quite a few years that have been won in, you know, their backyards. And that was what Evers on Grand, Edwin Evers on Grand, and then Casey Ashley and on Hartwell, you know, and those were both of those were a good, you know, good handful of years ago. So
yeah. That's what Austin should do, because Evers doesn't even fish bass anymore. He fishes MLF.
But he can't talk to anybody though. So
I know, I'm just kidding. I'm
not. He can't talk to anybody though.
Yeah, no, he can't.
All the rules they got over there.
Yeah, which I think makes so much sense for sure. So, dude, what an awesome episode. Super appreciate that guy, man. If anybody doesn't follow him already on socials, it's all Austin Felix Fishing. That's how you find him. Honest, sincere, hardworking dude. I think his story was one of my favorites we've ever had on this show. Just the sort of winding route to get to where he is
meant to be.
Yeah, I mean, like the chance that his dad has a client who's a bass guy, then his dad gets into it, and then that kind of is the genesis for him. And then goes to college, is like, this is not really my thing. Goes away from college, goes back to college to fish. And then that's what turns him on to like, oh, I could actually do this. Like there's some really neat little like points on a map that, you know, I think I've said this quote on here before, but sometimes it's necessary to go a short distance out of the way to come back long distance the correct way. So like he might be, you know, all over the place, but he's getting to where he's supposed to be going. Like this dude is supposed to be fishing, and I absolutely love that.
Same.
Yeah. All right. Lola, Nate, you got anything else before we close her up?
No, that was a good one.
Yeah,
that was a good one. Thank you, Austin Felix. That was fun.
Felix.
Thank you so much, and remember that positivity is worth the effort.
It absolutely is. This dude embodies it.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Peace.
I never know what to do with my hands when we say bye. I always want to wave, but it feels really awkward. Yeah.
What I do with my hands.
Yeah.